Hi everyone. So today I'd like to share some positive encouragement for ex-JWs who still have family members or loved ones inside the Borg. As usual, I've penned my words and will read them so that I can stick with my thoughts and hopefully not ramble on. So, a number of people have messaged me to congratulate me on leaving the organisation. And their messages have also shown that sadly some have lost hope that their loved ones will ever do the same. I'm hoping that sharing a little of my story will prove to be encouraging. Firstly, what kind of Jehovah's Witness was I? Well, I was 100% a believer. I had no doubts that this was God's organisation. I followed direction fully on regular study, regular field service, meeting attendance, dress and grooming, entertainment, association. I followed all of this counsel to the full. As a wife and mum for pretty much all of my time in the organisation, I wasn't able to be a regular pioneer. However, this was always my goal, and I would try to auxiliary pioneer at least once or twice every year. I enjoyed the meetings. I commented very regularly. I loved the fellowship. I even loved the ministry. There was probably only one thing I didn't really enjoy and often dreaded: the convention. I always found them very long and tiring, and especially difficult with children of any age. And I found them even more of a burden when our convention site moved further afield and we needed hotel accommodation as well as the cost of eating out every day. In fact, the highlight of those conventions would be the hotel facilities, like a swimming pool or gym or breakfast already made. But in all honesty, I can say I was a happy Jehovah's Witness. However, as content as I wasn't in it for the fellowship and support network. I was in it because I believed it was the truth. I believed that the governing body was indeed God's channel. So, when the ARC was brought to my attention by my son, shout out to Josh, thank you son, along with the situation I've mentioned in my previous videos about our local paedophile and how he was handled, I came to have doubts and decided to research Watchtower. I quickly went from obedient Jehovah's Witness to active apostate. All in all, I watched a commission in 2015 and was very upset, but decided to wait on the conclusion for the brothers to prove that they would make the needed changes and apologies. In October 2017, I was auxiliary pioneering for the month. In November 2017, I downloaded the PDF of the findings and conclusion of the ARC. On reading that, my field service report drastically dropped from my usual time. In December 2017, I refused to share in the public ministry anymore, and my report was just time for our family worship evenings. And by the end of January this year, I was done with meetings, ministry, and attending any social gatherings with the brothers and sisters. So because of my own situation, I hope that anyone who watches this video will be encouraged in the hope that even their seemingly thoroughly convinced and happy Jehovah's Witness relative or loved one will one day wake up. I'd also like to relate a situation with my daughter. Almost 4 years ago, my 17-year-old daughter was disfellowshipped. She was at the time living in the family home, but very shortly thereafter, because of the tension in the home and the restrictions imposed upon her, she moved out around her 18th birthday. This, as you can imagine, was extremely difficult all round. My husband and I decided we would stick to Watchtower's rulings on this matter to the letter, as this would hold the most hope of having her return to the congregation, which was our earnest desire. We only had communication with our daughter on necessary family business, or in response to requests for help from time to time. But something that really struck me was the amount of witnesses who expressed to us at that time that we should just see our daughter, that disfellowshipping was unloving, that it's none of anyone else's business if we decide to carry on a relationship with her. And some of these were even elders. I began to see that there are many who you may think are loyal to the organisation, but in reality they themselves are not 100% about the rulings of the governing body. Anyway, in September 2017, my daughter and my new granddaughter started attending meetings, which we were of course overjoyed at. And because it was winter, we had arranged to pick them up and take them with us. We were full of hope that this could have a happy ending after all. So try to imagine my dilemma when only a couple of months or so after this, I started to research and find out this wasn't the truth. I didn't want to go to the meetings, and I felt so uncomfortable being there. But could I just wait it out until my daughter got reinstated and then fade? For any of you that know me, you'll know that I could never do that. I'm an open book. I can't carry on a pretense without opening my mouth. So one Thursday evening, I was getting ready to go to the meeting, and my husband, who had missed a few meetings at the time, said he wasn't well and wasn't going. So I just put everything down. I said, that's it, I've had enough. I'm going to call Abby. I'm going to tell her I can't pick her up tonight. I'm not likely to be going anymore. I no longer believe this is the truth. My husband didn't want me to do anything rash. So he got up and got ready and took her to the meeting. He asked me not to tell her anything just yet. But by the weekend, I had to tell her. What was so good was that when I spoke to her, she had in fact sent me a text message telling me the exact same thing. It had never arrived, but we were on the same page. We were both done with Jehovah's Witnesses. I hope that the fact that a happy, obedient Jehovah's Witness came to wake up, that my experience of many witnesses saying they don't agree with the shunning policy, and that my daughter and I came to the same realisation without each other knowing, is enough to share some hope with all of you for your own family, friends and loved ones.